Yo, what is good everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got some awesome information for you guys, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And we're starting off with Dragon Quest XI S on the Nintendo Switch. We've got some actual details finally on this version of the game, so let's go ahead and get right into it here. So Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age will launch for the Nintendo Switch in 2019 in Japan. Square Enix announced at the Jump Festa 2019 the Nintendo Switch version of Dragon Quest XI includes optional Japanese voiceovers, which were not included in the original PlayStation 4 release. Now, there are some other things that's not listed that some people were listing based on the translations that we've been getting out there. So one, there's going to be more information about this game and some type of surprise on like January 1st, 2019. So they're planning some type of New Year surprise for this game. Also, there will be extra content outside of the Japanese voiceovers. There will be exclusive extra content for the Switch version of the game that you won't be able to find in other versions of the game. So that's really cool. There also is some word floating around that you'll be able to marry certain members in your party once you get to some point. And there's also some decoration in your houses as well. So there are some things that you can do that you weren't able to do beforehand, or whatever the case is. We need to wait for more clear information about that. But that stuff is coming out when it comes to Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age on the Nintendo Switch. Now, another thing to note, and this isn't 100% confirmed because of the translations and what people are saying, but it does seem like this version of the game was built for the ground up for the Nintendo Switch, more so than a port, because I've actually seen a lot of people talk about, well, how well is the port going to run? How well is it going to look, considering that the PS4 version is like a 25 to 30 frames per second 900p. However, the thing about that people are comparing it with is ports that are done, then you're just porting it over, or games that were done on PS4 and Xbox One and then just porting over that code. If the game is built ground up for the Switch, you can definitely get better performance out of it than what you'd see from a normal port from like a Wolfenstein or like a Doom or something like that. So I don't think it's a good comparison based on what Square Enix has said, which it seems like this game was built more ground up, that it's its own version of the game, still Dragon Quest XI, but built ground up more so than a port. So taking the PS4 version and just translating the code and putting it and trying to make it work on Switch to the best of their ability, where they just said, hey, this works well on Switch, this works well on Switch, let's build this version for the Switch itself. You're gonna get better performance if you do it that way. So it'll be interesting to see how everything stacks up. Now, the game isn't done yet. There's already some crude comparisons out there. My boy Direct Feed Games, he actually put out one there and looks pretty good to me. It looks like it's going to be pretty good. You have the extra content in there, and on top of that, this is portability. This is exactly what the Switch was built for when it comes to it. The portability of the Switch is really going to benefit a game like this. Being able to watch football or watch soccer or watch your favorite baseball game or whatever the case is and play the Switch and play this game in particular with the slower turn-based style of game, it just makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense for this game to be on the Switch. 2019 in Japan. I'm hoping they don't take till 2020 because they do have to do English translations, although those are already done. Those are already done, so it shouldn't be too long. I'm hoping for a worldwide release, but you never know. I mean, Square Enix can do some Square Enix stuff. There's no worldwide release for Dragon Quest Builders 2, and maybe they just wanted to hold it over for 2019 for the Switch because of Smash Brothers or whatever the case is. Either way, you never know with this, but I think that they should be able to get a worldwide release since they already have the English voiceovers done, and really they just have to do the Japanese voiceovers because America, they already had it, or the Western English was already put in there for the PS4 and PC versions of the game. Now, this is not a port of the 3DS version. Some people were saying that, or at least I heard that talk a while back, even when this was announced. Oh, it's going to be a 3DS version. No, it's not. Obviously, it's not that, and that was proven as well. This is going to be Unreal Engine 4, but it's going to be really cool to see how this game performs, considering it's 2 years later in Japan, but the portability is just so big. By the time that this game comes out, I think that the Nintendo Switch will have already lapped the PS4 in Japan by quite a bit. So I do think that this game can have a big opening and a big audience in Japan, and of course a big audience here in the West as well. Now let's move on to a little bit more of some other things, guys, because we were talking about this in our podcast, or not podcast, what am I talking about? The live stream, because I actually live streamed this for 4 hours, the Jump Festa show. And here's the thing. Next year in Japan, and even with worldwide, I guess, for some of these games will be 2019, some of them might be 2020 here in the West, but either way, in Japan, these games are coming out, these RPGs. You have Yokai Watch 4 that's coming out, which is going to be huge based on what we've seen so far. You have Fire Emblem 3 Houses coming out. You have Dragon Quest 11 on the Switch coming out. And then on top of that, you have Pokemon 2019 coming out. Think about that just for a second. Those 4 huge hitting RPGs, all with varying levels of fan bases and everything. But one thing can definitely be said, they're all going to sell millions and it's all going to be super hype in Japan. I think 2019 is going to be the year where the Switch really explodes because, man, look at those games. Dragon Quest, Fire Emblem, Yokai Watch, and Pokemon, all in that year. If Pokemon or any of the other games don't get delayed, that is a monster year for RPGs and the Nintendo Switch in Japan, and we can see the levels of this system rise well above what any other system has done and kind of just beat out anything that's been in Japan back in the day and everything. This could break sales records when it comes to Japan only in 2019 based on when these games come out. It's going to be absolutely nuts. So I'm excited to see how that is because I'm excited for all 4 of those games. On top of that, we have Final Fantasy games coming out in 2019 as well. So this is a stacked, huge RPG year for the Nintendo Switch, and I'll probably make a separate video just based on that because I have a lot more to say, but I don't have enough time to say it. So what do you guys think about all of this when it comes to Dragon Quest 11 on the Nintendo Switch? The first gameplay trailer, what they're talking about here. You guys excited for this game even though it came out after the PS4 version and it might be late 2019 here in the West or something like that? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We got Facebook and Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of PlayerEssence across the internet in addition to YouTube. Also make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming pages and consider supporting PlayerEssence. When you do so, gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emotes via YouTube membership. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to PlayerEssence for this RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next video. Peace!